What would you do to him, Beth?
Stab him.
What would you stab him with?
A knife.
Morbid Facts, Part 451. Beth Thomas entered the spotlight at the age of 6 when she was interviewed for the 1992 documentary Child of Rage. After being sexually abused by her father starting at the age of 1, the girl had developed severe psychological issues. During the interview, she admitted to sexually abusing her little brother Jonathan, repeatedly smashing his head against a concrete floor, torturing the family dog, and killing a nest of baby birds. She also admitted to constantly touching herself until her private parts started to bleed. Here's some disturbing footage from the film.
Nighttime, what do your parents do to your door?
Lock it shut.
Why do they lock it shut?
Because they don't want me to hurt John.
And what would you do to him, Beth?
Stab him.
What would you stab him with?
A knife.
And they're kind of afraid of you hurting John? Are they afraid that you might hurt them?
Yep.
Would you, Beth? When would you do it?
Nighttime.
Why would you do nighttime?
Because I don't like them seeing me do it.
Despite her troubled childhood, Beth later built a successful career as a nurse. Morbid Facts, Part 452. After just one date with him in 2018, Arizona woman Jacqueline Adis allegedly sent a man over 159,000 texts over a 10-month span. Some of the texts were incredibly disturbing threats like, "I'd make sushi out of your kidneys and chopsticks out of your hand bones. I'd wear your fascia in the top of your skull and your hands and feet." Adis was later arrested for trespassing inside the man's home while he was out of the country, but she was later declared mentally incompetent to stand trial and the charges were dropped. This is the 2,000-year-old skull of Mary Magdalene on display at St. Maximin Basilica in France. It's considered to be one of the most precious relics in all of Christendom. In 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson drove his car into a ditch while driving home from a party. He called his parents and told them he was fine, but wasn't sure exactly where he was. Nearly 50 minutes into the call, he suddenly yelled, "Oh shit," and then went silent. He's never been seen nor heard from again. Morbid Facts, Part 453. Italian man Marco Mariolini earned the nickname Anorexic Hunter due to his disturbing fixation towards emaciated women. But he wasn't simply drawn to women who were already thin. He wanted to actively shape them into emaciation by pushing their bodies to extreme levels of malnutrition. He made his wife starve herself, making her lose more than 70 pounds until he eventually broke up with her once he got her pregnant. Marco then started dating a woman named Monica, whom he would punch in the stomach if she ate anything he considered excessive. He would even take her to nice restaurants where he would eat in front of her while she was forced to starve. One day Monica had enough and attacked him with a hammer before later turning herself in, only to end up facing house arrest with her monstrous partner. Marco would end up fatally stabbing her 22 times in retribution, and only spent a few years in prison before being released in 2021. By the way, I have no idea what's going on with that facial hair. It's totally unrelated to the story. Trust me, I have so many questions myself. This is one of the worst cases of Munchausen syndrome by proxy ever seen by doctors. For years, Kelly Ronahan was thought to be suffering from a mysterious illness that caused her to frequently lose blood and required weekly transfusions. But once doctors started catching on that Kelly was likely draining her own blood to appear anemic, she moved on to a new health issue. She allegedly started picking at her legs, putting chemicals on them, and rubbing all sorts of substances and dirt into the wounds. Soon enough, her legs got so bad that Kelly needed a muscle transplant and skin grafts to cover up the holes. After being discharged from the hospital, she continued picking at the scabs and causing further damage, eventually turning parts of her legs black. It got to the point where she nearly died from sepsis and required both of her legs to be amputated. Kelly gleefully documented her whole medical journey on social media, posting hundreds of photos and videos of her progress over the years. But in the end, she reportedly did it all for internet sympathy. Morbid Facts, Part 455. In 1983, Diane Downs shot her 3 young children and then drove them to the hospital at less than 10 miles per hour. Her 7-year-old daughter had already passed by the time she arrived, while her other 2 kids were in critical condition. Diane had also shot herself in the forearm and claimed that someone tried to carjack her. But in reality, she was having an affair with a married man who didn't like kids, so she wanted to dispose of them so she could be with him. Downs was sentenced to life in prison, and the lead prosecutor adopted her 2 kids that survived. Here's an 1870 photo of an Indian guru wearing an iron collar so he can never lay down. He did this by choice as a sign of devotion to his religion, believing that suffering allows one to grow closer to the spiritual. In 2019, Fred Pepperman swam out to rescue his 3 daughters who were caught in a riptide on a Florida beach. After saving them all, he fell unconscious and passed away on the way to the hospital. His final words to them were, "I got you."